Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth episode of the LyteByte podcast for tech. With me, Joe.
And Nick, I'm over here. Hello.
Hello. And we have some non-tech related news to start off stuff about
Yes,
us.
a lot of exciting things.
So, Nick, I heard you were doing exciting things.
Yeah. So tonight actually, uh, I've had a really exciting week. First off, I saw a musical. I saw Little Shop of Horrors. That was amazing. Got to say.
Very good. I was in that
Yes.
once.
Nice. Um, I know you're a big fan of musicals, aren't you, Joe?
Yes,
Yes.
incredibly.
And so we did that. I played in a basketball sectional game with the band at school. That was a lot of fun. So long night that night because I was on the same day. Tonight, long day, school, and then also helped with our drama club for the dinner theater, which is really cool. It was like a murder mystery, and we served food to people, and they had a clue hunt and prizes. And it was a lot
Cool.
of fun. Yeah, and I get to do that tomorrow again. And tomorrow morning, I'm performing in a ensemble with two of my friends, and we're
Nice.
going to a competition for that and for band. So it's going to be a hectic day tomorrow again. But yeah, um, so pretty exciting. Anything up with you?
Uh, Nothing good.
Nothing good.
No. But anyway, let's move on to some news about the company.
Yes.
Loosely using the term, of course. And we have got a name for the tech podcast. Previously, it was just called that, but now it's got a fancy new name called the IT Desk. Boom. Beautiful.
I quite like it. I think it's pretty good.
And to go along with this fancy new name, we got a fancy new background page thing for you to look at.
Yeah. So we got the nice desk. We got a nice little box there with all our links in it, which is really handy.
hmm We got Nick over there, represented by an Earthbound character, and me by an alligator.
Yep. And so this is it's still a little bit of work in progress. So we'll be updating
hmm
it more and more as time goes on. And this is in fact the big news that we had in the last podcast.
Yes. And now these visuals were brought to us by a fellow member of the group who has recently joined us. His name is Austin. He is our company artist or photo shopper.
Whatever you want to call him. But yeah, he works on our graphics right now currently, which as prior to this, it was really just me in my spare time. I did a lot of the Twitch graphics actually, which yeah, so
Yeah,
it's nice to
they were
have him
nice.
around now. Yeah,
But yeah, it's the more
oh,
people we
thank you,
have,
Joe.
the better quality we can do.
But yeah,
Now, yeah,
oh, sorry.
it's okay.
Um, so also another celebration we'd like to have is we hit 100 views on episode 3 of the IT Desk. So that's pretty awesome.
Yes, 100 people wasted their time listening to us.
Yeah.
Now, also, if you want to waste more time with us, we have a new series that was posted the other day. It is the LyteByte Hardcore Minecraft Survival. We, what it is right now it's me and our cameraman Andrew. We're playing through and we're on a hardcore server, so if we die, we're gone, and we have to tag in another person from the company. Hopefully, we don't run out of people.
Which I mean, what we have two,
Uh,
three, four, five, six. We got six people, so I mean, we can go for a
yeah,
little while.
yeah. And then also tomorrow or the day after that, depending on when it's recorded, we will be releasing the first episode of our gaming podcast.
Very exciting. We've been
Yes,
planning on doing this for a little while, but
it was kind of supposed to come out in December,
yeah, along with
but
the tech podcast, but things got set on the back burner, and
yeah, various things popped up.
yeah. But we are very excited to start delivering that very soon.
Yes,
I'm sure you will all enjoy it.
yes.
Shall we get into some news?
I do like news.
I do like news as well. So our first story is 3D TV is now even deader, which, if anyone who followed TV technology knows, it was pretty much dead from the start.
Yeah.
So what happened recently was Samsung, Sony, and LG have all halted production of 3D television sets. In fact, LG stated that 3D capability was never really universally embraced in the industry for home use, and it's just not a key buying factor when selecting a new TV. They hope to move focus to new technologies such as HDR, high dynamic range, and in fact, sales have been declining a lot since 2013 or 2012, sorry, where in 2012, 3D made up 23% of total TV sales. In 2015, that number dropped to 16, and just last year, only 8% of TVs in America sold were 3D. So, yeah, can't say we didn't really see this coming,
Because
but
yeah, like if you look at just like the history of 3D, I mean it was around even as like early as the 50s where like movies tried to make 3D,
oh
and like
yeah,
it'll always have that like surge and like the revival of it, but then it always dies because no one likes it. It's not there.
yeah, it's one of those technologies that it continually gets better, but it's never perfect.
Yeah, like I mean even like movies like Avatar, which were considered like really good use of 3D, just weren't like you could watch it without 3D and it was probably a better experience. You don't have to wear the glasses and everything just looks better.
Yeah, because my first experience with 3D was the Disney movie Tangled. You familiar with that movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was honestly horrible. It
I can
the
imagine.
yeah, I mean, the movie was all right itself, but the 3D effect was just horrible. But ever since then, I've gone to that same theater and have seen some 3D movies, and they've been a lot better actually. But
Yeah. For me, I think the first one thing in 3D I saw was actually at the Grand Canyon. It was a like movie at a theater there talking about the Grand Canyon.
mhm.
And I mean, it was okay. But like just overall, like when I'm wearing the like I don't wear glasses, so it just feels so strange and I can't like they just kind of get uncomfortable. I have to take them off, and then I'm just looking at red and blue, like double vision. And
Yeah,
even when you have them on, it's not like it really makes a whole bunch of difference.
yeah, it's like, and I mean, there's so many different types of technologies of 3D as well, so it really gets complicated.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was in Texas, we saw actually a 4D movie, and that was pretty cool, like the
Hmm.
chairs and stuff. But I mean, the worst part was when they were like running like the preview loop at the beginning before they talked about like this thing of like I don't know, like I don't even remember where it was. It was kind of like notable things about Texas or something. And while it was like we were all shuffling into the theater, there was an error message, like a Windows error message that said, that a light, that one of the bulbs was about to go out, and it did in the middle of the show. So everybody had to close one eye because half of our glasses didn't work.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, even like right now, we're talking about like on the big screen, so I imagine like a lot of problems, potentially even worse on a like just regular TV screen.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm sound a little bit distracted. I'm somebody in a Discord server with about, I would say, over 200 people is doing at everyone right now, and it's really annoying. So I am going to just mute that entire server.
That
Oh my
might
god,
be good.
everybody is going crazy in it right now, yelling "stop!" That person just got banned. Oh my god! All right. Well, that's been interesting.
And I think on that note, we could switch to something a lot darker and
Yeah.
more serious.
Yes. So this recently was released by Twitter, and it's concerning some interesting requests that Twitter had received from the FBI. Now, recently Twitter published two national security letters following a gag order that was recently lifted. So basically, the gag order means that the company is prohibited from notifying the general public or any accounts that were affected by these orders from the FBI. So what happened was some letters were sent in September of 2015 and June of 2016, these two letters, and they demanded the name, address, length of service, electronic communications, transactional records for all services, and as well as all accounts pertaining to these two specific accounts that the FBI was interested in. They instructed Twitter to not disable, suspend, lock, cancel, or interrupt service to either of these accounts. They wanted to do it very quietly under the rug of them getting that information. And Twitter noted that it remained unsatisfied with restrictions on our right to speak more freely about national security requests we may receive. And the company is currently working through lawsuits to speak more freely. So, I mean, there's of course a lot we still don't know what this is all about, like who these
Yeah.
accounts are, why the FBI was interested in this, but it is an interesting thing to think about.
And it's one of those things that like it just doesn't really have a clear, definite answer. Because I mean, I want to say, they shouldn't be like if they are going to do that, everyone has the right to know and whatever. But I mean, at the same time, if it could help people, like save lives or whatever, I mean, as still, it's very
Yeah,
difficult.
I see what you mean. It's like, does does the cost of knowing what's going on, outweigh, like saving people if it's that serious?
hmm
You know?
And I mean, like, not even just warning that those two specific ones, but say that like if it was just public knowledge that they can and will do that,
Mhm.
then I think that would be better than just not being able to say anything about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting too to see like how requests such as this get factored into like companies' terms of service. Because I mean, we had the situation with Apple and the FBI instructing that they needed to figure out how to unlock that iPhone. You remember
hmm
that disaster?
Yeah, and Apple saying no.
Yeah, because I mean, not only was that against their terms of service, it was also physically impossible for Apple to do it, which made it really
Yeah,
interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing.
yeah. But now a new a first for our podcast. We are revisiting and updating a previous story.
Yes.
So, last week we talked about Elon Musk and SpaceX's Hyperloop pod racing competition thing, and they did it that weekend. Out of all the teams that were entered, three of them actually got to like test their pod on the Hyperloop track, which it was about 3/4 of a mile long, and they would put the pod in, they would close it, and I think depressurize everything, and then have a pusher that starts it off going 50 miles per hour, and then it sees what kind of speed it can gain. And the three groups that got in were MIT, of course, uh, VAR, which is a university in Munich, that's Germany, right? Or is that Austria? One of the two. And the Delft University of Technology. MIT was able to use magnets to levitate itself through the track, and it was able to go 56 miles per hour, while the VAR in Delft got to 58 miles per hour, with VAR maintaining their speed the longest out of all three groups. And they all came to a stop and got out, and it seemed like promising. There was a video for MIT's pod, and it just looks really cool because I mean, eventually, like the wheels that are on it just quit moving, and it was still going, and it even got faster.
Yeah, it's really really cool. Think about.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like again, even with this kind of small scale success, I it's not gonna probably be anything like major in the future for a long time, but
Oh yeah,
it's still cool.
yeah. I mean, years from now, I'm sure definitely, this, technology, in transportation would, be implemented places. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, even just like if you can get like use it to just transport things, not even people, just
oh yeah,
these distances quickly.
yeah. Like that would be pretty cool. Like, using it as kind of like a transport line.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. All right. Anything else for that?
No, I believe we can move on to the next story.
All right. Next, we move in to a bit of older news from a week or two ago that has recently been updated. Um, and this is basically a note to anyone who wants to get into things like Kickstarter and stuff on how not to really do things to an extent, I guess. But ZTE, a smartphone manufacturer, has had quite a time with Project Hawkeye, also known as Project CSX. And yeah, so basically, what ZTE wanted to do was they wanted the community to design a smartphone. And so they had a list of features, very generic things that that the general population could vote on. And we ended up with some interesting features. We ended up with hands-free eye tracking for scrolling, as well as voice commands to navigate through pages. And second, the phone would have the ability to stick to walls with an optional case. And yes, all these ideas came from the community. These were the two top-rated things, and ZT was asking for $500,000 in this Indiegogo campaign, or excuse me, Kickstarter campaign. My mistake. And so yeah, there's a couple pictures on the Kickstarter page with of like there's a lady eating breakfast and she has like her phone on a stand, and she's looking at it. And there's another picture of a lady in a bathroom with her phone stuck to a mirror while she's doing her makeup and has like Facebook open, I think. So pretty interesting. A little while through the campaign, they did release the specifications of this phone. So the specs include a Snapdragon 625 CPU, which is a pretty mid-range CPU for Android phones. Mid-range being, uh, the 400 to 600 range, somewhere along those lines. Anything over that would be considered a flagship phone.
Hmm.
But affordable for people who want a little bit more power in a phone and don't want to go for a budget phone. And it's got a 1080p display, a 3000 milliamp hour battery, 5.5-inch screen. Has This is interesting to me. It has a dual rear camera, 13 megapixels and 12 megapixels with an optical zoom. So what I'm thinking is it's probably kind of like the iPhone 7 Plus, where it has like a wide angle lens and then a more now narrower lens. Also, similar to the LG V20, how it uses its lenses, and as well as an 8 megabyte. Did I say megabyte earlier? I meant to say megapixel. But an 8 megapixel front camera, and 3 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of storage, a micro SD card slot, fingerprint scanner, NFC, high fidelity audio, USB Type C, and Quick Charge 2.0. So all in all, personally, if you ask me, I think that's a really nice phone for what you're getting. But as for the eye tracking stuff, does that really seem very useful to you, Joe?
Like, no,
Yeah,
there's
it's okay.
like, I can't see any situation where like that's something that I would be like, yes, take my money for that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's gonna be there, okay,
Hmm.
but I don't see any point to design it with that in mind.
Yeah, like designing a whole phone around that is kind of weird because let's take like the Samsung's Note line. It has the S Pen, so you can use it as a stylus, but they don't design the whole phone around that. It's just like a normal, you know, Samsung Galaxy, but then with pen functionality kind of added into it.
Yeah.
So, it makes more sense. And like my first thought when I thought this was like, oh, maybe this would be great for when you're driving, using the phone hands free. But then I thought about it, I thought, well, no,
You're
because
looking down at it
yeah,
still. That's
you're
the problem.
yeah, you have to look at the phone to interact with it, so that doesn't help.
And I mean,
So,
depending on the technology, I mean, what if it just doesn't read your eyes right, or like you look to the side for a second to at something else, and it'll just like screw up wherever you are.
mhm.
Uh,
because from what it seems like they're not using any sort of like special sensors or anything. They're just using the front camera. And
yeah.
I mean, what do you generally use the front camera on a phone for? Video calling and taking selfies, and they're not supposed to be that high quality, really. Most people don't care about that. So like, it's just an odd thing, and it's not like this technology is like really that new either. I mean, Samsung, back to Samsung again, has a feature called Smart Stay. I actually tried using it on my Galaxy, and it is really annoying. What it does is basically when you're looking at the phone, it prevents it from going to sleep. But if you look
Hmm.
away from it, then it allows the phone to go to sleep. And half the time, I don't really think it's doing anything. It's just I don't really know. It's just really weird.
But because I mean, for the most part, if you're looking at your phone, you're probably using it, and so that it won't go to sleep.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the point of just draining my battery with my camera constantly staring at me? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but
the potential benefits just aren't worth the potential cost.
exactly. So anyway, in 2 weeks of the campaign being active, there were already rumors that it was going to be shut down. And this is due to the fact that the campaign lost its momentum very quickly, and ZTA also delayed the full spec list when many backers had asked for it. And then once it was released, many were disappointed, which I kind of find interesting because ZTE stated they wanted it to be a mid-ranged phone that was affordable, so that it could be put in the hands of as many people as who wanted
Yeah.
it. But people were complaining these specs were not good enough, and they wanted flagship level specs. So 4 to 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, quick charge 3.0, better cameras, a quad HD screen, and a Snapdragon 800, or probably an 830 CPU. And that's going to push the phone up into the $600, $800 range, which is completely not what ZTE wanted. So I don't exactly understand that. But ZTE stated that Kickstarter was not a good idea for this, and they should have approached it differently.
Yeah.
And they said if ZTE cancels it, they would like to see this um, technology added into another phone line. Many are expressing that they would not want to see this in the Axon line, which is ZTE's flagship line. And so, yeah, it's really interesting to see. So another question is, are these really high-end flagship phones really that worth it? Because I mean, there's a lot of different ways we can take a look at a question like that. Because there's people who always rush out and buy the newest iPhone. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, does paying that much, you know, really warrant what you're getting?
Uh,
Because I mean, like an analogy I thought of was like, let's say you have two toasters. One holds 8 slices of bread and is a little faster, and the other one holds two, but it's a little slower and only a fourth of the price. You know, do you really need to cook 8 slices of bread at once, or are you fine
yes.
with just cooking two? So I mean, it's we it's just kind of something I don't really know how to explain. Like something to think about. Like do I really need it? Is it cool to have? Obviously, but is it really necessary to
Yeah.
go for something very expensive and powerful when you really don't need that for
I would like to point out that our creative director and cameraman Andrew, he is quite enthusiastically saying that you should get the toaster with 8 pieces of bread.
Definitely. I will say I did a horrible job at trying to explain that question, but yeah. Anyway, um,
Let's move on to the next story.
yeah. So Apple recently has joined in a partnership on AI, and this is pretty interesting because Apple has is the most recent company to join um, this little partnership on AI, and this is made up of Amazon, Google, DeepMind, Facebook, IBM, Microsoft, and OpenAI. And so this group, they are focusing on the development of AI safely, right, with safe practices and awareness of, the development of AI.
Not
So
letting them become self-aware and destroy us.
yes, exactly. Because I mean, we all know, from science fiction, AI usually never ends in the best ways. So it should be interesting to see, going forward how developments will happen. So, Apple, interestingly, it seems has lagged behind a bit in the AI game compared to some of the other companies with IBM's Watson, Microsoft's AI in their cloud, Amazon's Alexa cloud, Facebook's post aggregation AI, and even Google's deep learning machine. So having them will definitely raise a lot more awareness of AI because of how large of a company Apple is and more. So interestingly, they have the next big meeting with this partnership was actually today. So we haven't really had any news come in yet on this meeting, but we will definitely cover it as soon as we get it.
Yes. Now, on to our next story. It is about Vivaldi, a kind of new web browser that is being, well, I mean, it's released and it's been developed by John Stephenson von Techner, the co-founder and former CEO of Opera Software, which is, of course, another web browser.
All right.
He has a 35-man team that have been working on this, and it has just recently been able to get.
Uh,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
I got thrown off because again, Andrew has mentioned and has questioned my pronunciation of that. Perhaps it is Stefan's son. I don't know. I
I
said
I'm gonna say it's Stephenson and not
Stephenson.
Stevenson.
Okay,
But
that is potentially possible.
all right, I thought you pronounced Stephenson myself, but
I think I might have accidentally said Stevenson.
all right. Anyway, yes. How many users have they had?
1 million, which
Woohoo!
is less than from last week. The other, what was the web browser we talked about last week?
Um, well, there was Opera's browser. Oh no no no! It was DuckDuckGo,
Yeah.
the search engine.
Oh, the search engine. Yeah, so different.
Yes.
But I mean, yeah. So it's not quite that level, but it's still, um, it's made progress. And
Definitely.
their design philosophy for this was like, if you look at Chrome, they like compared to say Internet Explorer, it has like everything's hidden away and like it's very, minimalistic, like just the bare essentials are there. They say let's not do that. Let's instead have a whole lot of information that you can customize however you want. And so, Nick, you said you are using Vivaldi right now, right?
Yes. When I had actually heard the name Vivaldi in a YouTube video I was watching a couple weeks ago, but forgot about it until you mentioned it again recently. And so I thought, well, hey, I'll give it a try. For a little bit of background, I use Firefox actually as my main browser, so this was an interesting switch. Um, Fun fact, actually, Vivaldi is actually uh, based on the same like code as Google Chrome. Interestingly, which is a project called Chromium. So that's been interesting because a lot of the applications and stuff that work on Google Chrome actually work on Vivaldi as well, because you still
Mm.
get the whole Google Chrome, the Chrome Web Store.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was very easy. I got LastPass in here, so I can manage my passwords and everything, and that worked really good. I mean, in terms of like performance and everything, it works really good. Everything's fast, and it's always kind of the joke, in about like oh Google Chrome uses all your RAM. That's kind of an ongoing joke. Well, right now with Vivaldi open, I'm only using 25% of my RAM, and yeah, I got like a bunch of other stuff open too already. So I mean, it's pretty good with performance, and it's got a lot of features like and you can customize nearly everything with it. So much that I don't even know what to do a lot. So I
Yeah,
mean,
like from the video I saw for it, it looked like from what they were saying, it sounds like you can have instead of like when you have multiple tabs like on Chrome, if you want to like view two of them at the same time, you have to put them in separate browsers.
yeah,
But there, like from what the video said, it seems like you can have multiple tabs open like at the same time on the same browser, like splitting up the thing. Is
yeah.
that
I haven't actually tried that, but or even
so?
knew that that was a feature. But yeah,
Yeah, like I mean, I might have like misunderstood what they said, but that seems like what they said.
okay,
Also, another thing that they've said is they do not want to be like they're trying to design it, and they have probably done taken steps to make sure that doesn't send information like even to Google, like all the information the browser is able to collect,
yes,
and it's like just not collecting, it's deleting all of the information.
yeah. Um, there's a lot of security features that are hidden in there in the settings menu, which is pretty nice. And what is cool is DuckDuckGo is actually one of the included search engines, and so I've been using that as well. I used to use it a little while back, but I did make a switch back to Google. I'm kind of back to using it again now, which I do like DuckDuckGo. It's very nice.
Yeah, look at all these stories, so
Yeah,
interconnected.
I
Couldn't
mean,
have planned it better.
yeah, I mean, hey, if you've never, if you want to give it a try, I definitely, download it, give it a try. I think you'll enjoy it if you
Mm,
like customizability. And as well, DuckDuckGo, I definitely give that a try. If you're concerned about privacy, and you know, yeah, it's
yeah.
a nice combination.
And so on to our next story.
All right. So in more Android phone news, there was a company known as NextBit who recently released their first phone back in 2016, I believe, called the NextBit Robin. Now, what this was it was a really unique concept. First off, the phone. If you want to Google a picture of it, Joe, it's a pretty nice looking phone, in my opinion. Pretty like unique compared to other companies who are just kind of doing slabs of aluminum with a screen stuck on it. So they were pretty unique in that fact, but also their software on the phone was really cool. As you had basically a flagship phone, but it was connected with their cloud. And so what would happen is, as you would install apps and stuff, if there were apps you didn't use over time, they would get archived into the cloud. And then whenever you needed them, you could just click on the icon on your home screen and they would be pulled down from the cloud and installed. And all your stuff would be still there and everything. And it's like it never left your device pretty much. And you can, of course, pick specific apps that are like, oh, I don't want this one to get archived because I need this app. And then it'll keep it on the phone then. So a really unique concept, but pretty simple, but really nice, and it was very well executed as well. And it had the next bit Robin gained a very large following actually in the Android community. Well, sadly, Nextbit was recently acquired by Razer. Now you're probably thinking, Razer, the game accessory company? Yes, indeed. So very strange acquisition. Um, Two companies that are kind of at the polar opposites. And yeah, I mean, Razer is known for high-end, PC gaming accessories and PCs, and they have recently gotten into the Android gaming scene with the Razer TV, which was a competing product for the uh, NVIDIA Shield TV, which has a horrible name because NVIDIA sucks at naming, which they called it the NVIDIA Shield when they already had a product named the NVIDIA Shield. So then they just discontinued the old Shield, kind of, and yeah,
Good job.
NVIDIA is weird with names, but which interestingly enough, a Razer is also horrible at names too, with the Razer Blade computer, because they had the Razer Blade 14, which was a 14-inch computer. Then they had the Razer Blade 14, which was I think a 15-inch computer that was released in 2014.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then the next year it was just called the Razer Blade, and then yeah, Razer is horrible with names as well. So
Really, it seems like you just shouldn't trust most companies with numbers. Because, I
yeah,
mean, look at Xbox. It goes Xbox, Xbox 360, so they skipped a couple, and then one.
yep. It's it's pretty hard to count. I mean,
Yeah,
look at Valve. They can't count past two.
I know. That. They even have to start going like 2.1, 2.2.
Oh my god! If you okay, so you know about Kingdom of Hearts?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah,
Yeah, that like their naming scheme, like 2.1, and all that.
is that what they do?
Yeah, there is not a Kingdom Hearts 3, I think. Like they're still going in like the decimals of 2.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2.8. What?
Yeah, like just release 3 already. Ah,
That
God,
is something.
like it's not that hard to count, people. Uh,
Anyway,
yeah, back to this story. Okay, our creative advisor Andrew has also mentioned Minecraft 1.11. I mean that makes sense. Minecraft has been
that's just a version number.
yeah,
That's okay.
yeah. I mean, because it's just it updates. We had 1.0, 1.1, and everything in there. That makes sense. Speaking of version numbers, there's always Firefox where it's like every month here's version 57. A couple weeks later, here's version 58.
Wait.
I forget what we're on right now. I kind of want to find out because I just updated my Firefox recently before I switched to Vivaldi. About Firefox, I am running Firefox 51, which I believe the beta version of Firefox is in like the 60s right now. So I don't know. Numbers are just numbers.
Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right.
Nextfit and
Yes.
Razer.
So the status of Robin right now is manufacturing and official sales have ended. You cannot buy the Nextbit Robin through their official website. Um, you can still, however, purchase it through Amazon at the time of right when we were writing this. Um, and the hardware is planned to be supported for the next 6 months. And software updates such as Android patches for security and new versions of Android are promised for the next 12 months. I wouldn't necessarily count on the Android version because that's always a common issue with Android phones, especially ones that are discontinued like this.
Hmm.
And Nextbit says they will operate as an independent division of Razer, and it's really unknown where they'll go from here. The biggest idea that people have had is that they'll be getting in with gaming hardware and building like things such as the Android TV, uh, Razer consoles, and other things along those lines.
Hmm.
And which I welcome that to an extent because I mean, really, the only person pushing Android gaming is Nvidia, and then there was the Ouya. You remember that, Joe?
No.
Okay. It was like an Android game console that was like backed by Kickstarters, including I think Notch actually backed it.
Hmm.
But it died very quick, just because it didn't include like the Google App Store. They had their own app store where they put games
Oh.
out there, and like other companies could come put them out there. So it had a very small like library for it.
Yeah, but I mean, really, I think, you know, with Razer being, a big gaming company and then this next bit, working on phones, if they could find a way to like make a gaming phone that, like it had all the functionality of a phone, but also
Mm-hmm.
like I mean, like I'm just trying to think like something to rival Nintendo's 3DS just so that there's more in like the mobile market besides either like
Yeah,
Nintendo or you know Candy Crush or whatever.
yeah. Because I mean the 3DS is it's I mean it's going strong, but there's no questioning it. It is pretty low spec by today's standards. I mean, I actually
Yeah.
didn't know this until last week. The 3DS screen is 240p.
Whoa.
Yeah, I never knew that. And and the thing is too is like it's not the fact that like oh, the technology wasn't there when they released the 3DS. It is. I mean, because if you look at like an Android phone, about the same size as a 3DS screen or even
Yeah.
bigger, it's a higher resolution, like
Yeah.
8 steps up from that. So I mean,
Yeah. And although that they never really like they've tried but they haven't been able to, Sony's the PS Vita was the most recent one.
yes.
Yeah, I mean I'm sure it was a lot more powerful.
Hmm.
But I mean Sony just doesn't use it, right?
Yeah, the Vita is really a sad story of just it not catching on.
Yeah.
But and I mean, because like right now we have smartphones and tablets. We have the 3DS, the upcoming Nintendo Switch, and
Yeah.
we're kind of getting into gaming territory here. But yeah,
But we're on the tech side of gaming. So
yes,
we'll go on. Anyway, in order to not go on that subject forever, let's go on to just a couple quick stories to end out the day.
yeah. So first up here is a reminder that no matter how big your company is, you are still vulnerable to hackers. So Armine, a hacking group, is known for their presence on Twitter account hacking. Recently changed it up a little bit and hacked some Facebook accounts, mainly a bunch of different CNN pages. So they posted basically just some links to their website and information about who they are, basically, just to kind of let it be known that hey, we're here, you know, something like that. And the messages were around there for about 30 minutes before they were taken down. And they have previously hacked some other big companies such as WWE and Sony Music. So, I mean, the internet's a scary world out there.
Indeed.
So,
And it's not just something like CNN that gets hacked. We haven't we didn't actually write it down, but I think earlier today I read a story about Donald Trump, President Donald Trump's his Twitter account. Like someone from one country in Europe, it's not coming to mind right now, but apparently like Trump said something about the capital of that country, and so the guy like just to mess around, he went through and went to some old posts like to links to websites from Trump's account, and like any outdated websites or whatever, like he would get the URL and like change it to just some like random YouTube videos that he made,
hmm,
and he just did that for fun.
hmm,
But
interesting. I hadn't heard about that. That's pretty,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like it was nothing like it was nothing terrible, but
yeah,
still. And then also a couple like a week or so ago, a hotel in Australia, they were hurt by some people using ransomware, where they used they encrypted hotel devices that prevented new people from being checked in and given keys. And they would only release the ransomware if they were given bitcoins. I don't know why they chose bitcoins. I guess, because that's the easiest way online to get money that
yes,
was like untraceable, or not untraceable, but harder to trace.
yeah,
And it was $1,800. I don't know why that amount, but the hotel, in order to keep business going, because it was a busy weekend for them, they just paid it and went on.
yeah. Um, it's ransomware is an interesting thing because I have actually dealt with it before on my grandfather's PC. Um, and mainly it's just a scare tactic. It really doesn't do anything. I mean, you can go from like something that just like kind of overlays a thing on your desktop and it's like, oh, pay us money, we'll unlock your system, we're Microsoft, we're here saying your computer's infected, we'll fix it for you. And then you get to the like really like poor quality ones where it's just like a pop-up in your web browser that looks like a dialog box that says, oh, your computer's infected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there are some out there that are actually serious at encrypting things, which it's scary. And there's an ad that goes around YouTube every now and then of like I think a police station or something that comes out and they're like, yeah, we couldn't do anything, so we just had to pay them. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
All right. So our hold on, I can't scroll down. There we go. Okay.
our penultimate story.
Yes. if you want to call it that, I guess. Snap Inc., which, fun fact, is the owner, founder, creator, parent company of Snapchat, has planning on publicly going onto the stock exchange. So they filed some paperwork in 2016, and they have shown investors recently that they are a very powerful company with a large following. I mean, you look everywhere online, you see Snapchat nowadays. Um, I originally thought it was pretty stupid. I've been kind of using it lately, so go me. Um, but they have reportedly 115 million daily users, which is insane. And they have an estimated IPO of 20 million. So, yeah,
So if you have money and you think Snapchat's gonna keep on growing, buy some stock.
definitely. So,
And finally, a story to end us off is it's kind of sad. A server that has been running since 1993 is being shut down. I'm not entirely sure what the server actually did.
neither am
It
I.
was involved in a company's just kind of working, so it did whatever the company needed it to do. But it was first turned on in 1993, so that is almost like probably depending on when it was opened up, that was around 24 years ago. And it is a fault redundant server so that like it is built so that even if parts break, and various parts had broken on it, they could be replaced with little to no problems to the actual server happening. And so they say that they think, as far as they can remember and know, it had never shut off. It like except for during like planned shutdowns and resets. And so there was no problem with it ever. But the company that uses the server has recently got new owners, and they kind of want to upgrade the server. So sayonara server.
Yep. So, a little bit sad. But to put it in perspective, this was the same year as Jurassic Park as well. So,
That's a long time ago.
but
Predates us.
yeah. So, I mean, there's something else I was going to mention in here. From what a spokesperson from the company said, who's been with the server since then, said that from what he can remember, it has never been shut down by accidents, or anything
Yeah.
really. So
I mean
definitely
that
interesting.
like and like yeah, even if like parts break and it still keeps going, that's kind of amazing. And then there are some people that have servers that go down a lot, like Steam or PlayStation or anybody except for these people.
Somehow they've been doing it this long.
Well, I guess when you're not like an actual internet public server, it does help.
That's probably true. I mean, hey, since I moved the our Minecraft server onto this other machine, I think we haven't had any issues with it going down.
Yep.
Not that not that we actually use it, but it's
Yeah.
always there.
There was that brief resurgence we had for like a week maybe, two
Yeah,
days.
like a week during December or stuff.
Yeah. Now,
We have had issues, says Andrew.
that's sad.
That is
Also,
that is true. Yes.
before we sign out, Andrew has informed us that LyteByte Studios is going to, I guess, take on manufacturing roles, and we are going to accept donations now for progress into creating a new 8 slice bread toaster. Are
And
you excited? We're going to make a toaster.
if you're watching the stream right now, there should be a picture on there, according to Andrew. So go him.
Yeah. If you want this bread toaster to be a reality, and you like, please understand that this is sarcasm. It's not gonna work. That's a potato. You can't.
Oh my god.
Also, why do we have the light? Okay, okay, Andrew. Why do we have a light? What purpose is the light gonna serve? Is it gonna tell us when they're done? Because hopefully they'd pop up when they're done. That is just wasting power that potato probably doesn't even have enough for.
I see that it is apparently a hive mind of toasters, as
Oh,
I've been informed. So,
I think it's at this point that we will let you all go.
yes. Thank you for watching, everyone. Look forward to that gaming podcast coming out soon. Look forward to our more episodes in our new Minecraft Let's Play and more tech news here at the IT desk.
Oh
Thank y'all for
yeah,
watching. Oh,
yeah. I just remembered though. Actually, you were in the last episode. Good for you. You weren't supposed to be, but you just kind of joined and were there for a
oh
second.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So, in spirit, you've been in that episode, even if you haven't played. But yeah, now everyone, goodbye. See you. Au
have a
revoir.
good night.